Welcome in. It's a Soulful Sunday, everybody. And you know what time it is. Get your plate. We don't get a cup today. Today we get a plate so that we can fulfill ourselves. Get your silverware, your napkins, but most definitely get you. And bring yourself to the table today for Speak to My Heart show on a Soulful Sunday. Today's guest is Mr. Dante. Now, this man, this brother right here, y'all, I had to put on the glasses. Y'all see what time it is. That means it's student mode. We're going to learn today. We're going to embrace. Most importantly, we're going to empower others through our gift, talents, and knowledge so that we all can remind ourselves that we're great on purpose. How you vibing today, sir?
I am doing fantastic, and thank you for allowing me to address your audience and be on your show.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being my friend. Hey, you are an author, speaker, advocate for truth, justice, and fathers' rights. He is also the author of the book, The Pain of Vengeance. It's available on Amazon. It's an ebook, it's a paperback, and it's an audio. So for those of y'all who have excuses, this man has made it very easy and simple for you. So you don't like to just pick up the book and read. Maybe you listen to something that can help you enlighten yourself and get out them stuck walls and cell block deep dormant of your mindset, and you done forgot that you're great. Did I get it all together? I got it
You
all
got
together.
you did. I didn't give this to you, but I'm also a 40-year veteran of talk radio, and I host the show Black Focus Radio, where we talk about our issues making our solutions and using our voices. And you can go out to YouTube and check that out as well. I do a update every week, as well as every day on Joynet Radio in Little Rock, Arkansas. They play some of my old shows. So from 12 to 2 p.m. So, and also, let me just, since we're talking, I do have a grant writers book where I teach people how to write grants. And we got a seminar coming up Tuesday night. And as we go through the show, I'll give you some information on how you can, and it's free. I'm not doing it to try to collect your email like some of these people do. Oh, join this show so I can get your email, and then they end up selling it to someone else.
Information.
So this is just to help people. The fiscal year starts July 1st, and that's when all the funding is going to be available. And usually you have about 30 to 45 days to get that proposal in. So I just want to give some people some updates on how to do that. So we'll talk about that a little later also.
No. We're gonna go right there
Okay.
because I
Okay.
shared that this morning because he got up this morning and made sure that he made that announcement.
Yeah.
And I went on and shared the video that you had out there because if you have a gift, you need to make it an LLC.
Hmm.
Period, point blank and simple. Get their name. I don't care what is not done, what puzzle pieces ain't put together. All you need is a name, and we can go from there.
Yeah.
See, that's how simple I know.
Yeah.
That's why when I saw it, oh, Grant, I was like, oh, yeah, because you know what? Speak to My Heart nonprofit to empower others to engage in music and arts.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to be in there. He said Tuesday. What time again? Hold up. Y'all better
It's
take
gonna,
notes.
it's gonna be 7 p.m. Eastern time. And if you want to be a part of the seminar, just send me an email to grants, FED, seminar@gmail.com, and I'll send you the link. I'm only going to keep you about 30, 45 minutes. We'll go over a little bit. And let me just quickly say, I'm not some fly by night guy. I've been in the grant writing business since about 1998, 99, when I put together my organization. I love my children too. It was very important to help nonprofit organizations. I ran two nonprofit organizations, Project C. I also did rites of passage camps in Memphis and Nashville, Tennessee, where we wrote grants for that. And then I realized that there were so many people who didn't understand the grant process. And fortunately, I did. So I decided to put together a seminar to help people. And over the years, I've been helping a lot of companies and a lot of nonprofit organizations. There are people out there who want to do a nonprofit and don't have no idea where to start. So this grant writing seminar And the book that I've created just recently called Grants and Federal Assistance Made Easy will give you information on, number one, how to write a proposal, where to look for the money. It will give you tips on proposal writing tips, the importance of a computer and a website and how to develop that website. It goes into depth. It's not a thick book. It's a small 6-chapter book, but it's chock full of information. And I thought it was very important for us to do that.
Well, it is very important for us to do that, because that takes us to the part where I saw something. Shout out to T.I. because he posted something, and it was just a clip of probably an interview that he had where it was talking about we sell everything, but we don't own that.
Right.
We don't own any, like owning the land, and so we can build a community where it was one of the questions that I do have, and I answered it myself, which is we need to own that land so that we can build our community to each one, reach one. What would it look like if you could reach those men out here that are struggling, which is, I call it cell block deep dormant of your mind, because I take the word isolation and I make it look real. That's what it looks like. Is it dormant in your mindset and you don't realize you have the key? What would, if you know that money wasn't an issue and you could build that community right now, what one thing would you most definitely guide and teach our men, young, old, it doesn't matter age, so that we can get out of that mindset?
That's a good question, because I tell people all the time, you got to plan the work and work the plan. And what we don't understand here is that that Black people in America, if we were the money that we spend annually, that's every year, is $2.1 trillion. Now let me just break that down for you. That $2.1 trillion is more than the gross domestic product of Canada. If we were a nation to ourselves, that would make us the 9th largest nation in the world. You all get that, right? But the irony is that only less than 10% of that money goes to our community. All right. If you look around other communities, all of the other people make sure that that money that they spend turns over in their community before it leaves their community. There's a reason why you see so many Arabs and Asians and white businesses in the Black community, because they know that's literally free money for them. And I just read an article in Barron's report where the Korean stock market is crashing, and it will crash by the end of the year. And they're trying to, I didn't realize it until I read that article, that 70% of their total income comes from the Black hair market business. That's us. Okay. And they were, Asians just a couple of weeks ago were criticizing Black people. In fact, white people used Black people in order to attack, and used Asian people in order to attack affirmative action. Okay. So my thing is this: if we really want to save our people, our children, then we need to start spending money with Black businesses. We shouldn't have to wait till someone calls a boycott, because I asked you the question. And those of you who are listening right now, tell me, when was the last time you saw a white person, an Asian person, an Hispanic person, or an Arab person come to a Black business? Think about that. Think about if you run a business right now, those 4 groups, how many customers do you have from those 4 groups? I'm saying to you that they've been boycotting our businesses for decades, yet we beat a path to their doors every chance we get. We need to change the mentality. So I guess the answer to your question is, what would I say is that we need to do or have a mindectomy. Ecto means to take out. Now, we can't go in and physically take our minds out, but we can certainly take our minds out mentally and begin to understand the power of not just the dollar, but our dollars, and how it is empowering other communities other than ourselves. Because guess what? If that money is being spent in our communities, then you see businesses growing, you see businesses development, and all of a sudden you'll stop seeing young black males standing on the corner. Because me as a black entrepreneur, I can go out and hire that young black male and say, hey, let me teach you about business. Then not only am I teaching him about business, I become his mentor. I become his motivator. So instead of him thinking that he wants to be like OG on the corner, he might want to be like David W. Coleman, the business owner. That's my answer. That's a long answer but that's my answer. That's the key. The key for us saving our community is spending money in our own communities, because they do it, and don't let them put you on a guilt trip because, oh, you're discriminated against me because you won't shop at my business. Well, I go back to the original premise. When was the last time you shopped at a black business other than a soul food restaurant? And now they're stealing. Koreans will tell you that they make fried chicken better than black people, when it was the black GIs in the Korean War who taught them how to make fried chicken.
What you said?
You hear what I'm saying?
And then for me, I like how you dropped all those gems in that, because it gives the mindset of, if we're going to speak on ancestors, because we have a lot of people always speaking on, oh, my ancestor this. Well, Black Wall Street was in Tulsa, y'all. They were working together. They were shopping and spending their money with, I'm over here with David. We spending money. Him over here with Key and Say Yes to You online store. Hello. But because we're accustomed to consuming and don't realize that we are the biggest consumer, and all we have to do is just flip where you're spending your money at, because money is really just currency. So if you the flow of currency and you want to see our community be built back up, well, flow your dollars where you want it really to go, and don't give an excuse just because this right here was dropped certain gems that wasn't even yours, so they didn't even stay stuck. That's why I look at the question, how I gotta find it. And it dealt with, how does vengeance affect individuals, families, and our communities? Because the book is The Pain of Vengeance.
Well, the book is The Pain of Vengeance, and let me tell you why I wrote this book. And let me just put it up so people can see it. And oh, by the way, it is on Amazon, as you said.
That wasn't good enough, because I wanted him to see what's in the middle. Y'all see what's in the middle? Besides him being real nice and handsome, but that middle in the middle of the book is the baby carriage. You're pulling on me. You're hurting me. Me.
Right.
I'm the one that's finna hurt from you. One of y'all's pain, one of your vengeance, and it don't do nothing but go back and forth and back and forth. And I'm sitting up here looking like, what do I do? Well, that was how I kind of just briefly looked at stuff when I just kind of just took a look, because Amazon lets you read at least up to a couple of pages, y'all.
Yeah, you can read 2.5 chapters of the book on Amazon. Oh, and by the way, it is on hardback too. So if you're one of those people who like hardbacks, because I've got friends that, man, I want a hardback. Well, okay, good. You can order that too. It's a little bit more expensive, but you can order that as well. But let me just quickly, I wrote this book because I went through a nasty divorce. And I realized because I grew up without a father, and I wanted to make sure I made a promise to my unborn children at age 10 that I would make sure that they would always be a part of their children, that I would always be a part of my children's lives. I made that promise at age 10. So when I got married, went through, unfortunately, a divorce, and I ended up fighting for custody, and realized that they didn't really give a damn about me as an individual, as a father. And then, of course, I put together my organization, and I started finding all kinds of research. Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu, years ago, I think about 1985, wrote a book called Countering the Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys. And by fourth grade, they can identify which young black boy is going to be successful and which young black boy is going to be in prison. So I wanted to make sure that my kids were not going to fall under that umbrella. So when I got to court, I realized that they didn't care about me as a dad. They just wanted me to pay child support. That's it. They just didn't want me to do anything. In fact, I had a judge who told me that, Mr. Coleman, if you just pay your child support, that'll be a good father. Huh? So my values don't matter. How I raise my son, I can't go and see what school he goes to. I can't make sure he's going has a good religion, if that's the case. I can't go to his doctor's offices. You know, that's what the judge told me. And I decided to start the organization I Love My Children to fight the system. So going through that process, and because this is important for you all to understand, it was a debilitating process. I hired 2 attorneys, lost about $20,000 in hiring them. So I decided to litigate pro se. And which, if you all don't know what that means, I was my lawyer. And I got more done as my own lawyer than 2 attorneys that I had paid $20,000 to. Ultimately, it really became psychologically damaging to me. And I ended up almost, well, let's put it this way. I attempted suicide. I almost took my life. And if it wasn't for a very dear friend of mine who worked with me that day, because I had determined that that particular day, that Wednesday, was going to be it. And she came to me at work and said, "Hey, Dave, you're usually a happy guy. You're laughing and joking with people," although they didn't know that I was struggling underneath. But all of it had come to a head. I would be driving and just burst out into tears. I would have dreams of digging a hole and couldn't get out. You know, all of those signs of severe depression. And I was one of those people who always thought that I could take care of it. I can solve it. This was something I couldn't solve. So I decided that, hey, I'd had enough of this fight. If all they think I'm worth is my child support, then they can get my Social Security insurance. That's all y'all care about. So I decided that I was going to commit suicide. And fortunately for Dot Williams, she saw the problem and got me to the Vanderbilt psych ward, where I spent 11 days there. But in coming out, I needed something for therapy. Now I did go to therapy, and I advocate to Black people all the time. If you're Black in America, all of y'all need therapy. Okay, you, and you. Don't think you don't, because this system alone pressures you to do things that you normally wouldn't do. I read an article the other day that said racism takes 5 to 7 years off the livelihood of Black people. All right. So I started writing the book before I went into therapy. And then, of course, I came out of therapy and finished the book. And a very dear friend of mine, Dr. Rosie Milligan, I had brought her to Nashville for a speaking engagement, and I had given her the 9 chapters that I had already written. And when she came out the next morning, she told me, she said, "Boy, you need to finish that damn book." And ultimately, I ended up finishing it, and it came out in 2002. So people say, and let me just do this quickly. This was the original book that came out in 2002. Okay, look, I'm pretty sexy now. I don't have all that gray I have now. All right. So I decided to read the book because I had a lot of people who were originally in my organization. They were having sons and grandsons and saying, "Hey, man, my son is going through the same thing I went through, or my grandson is going through the same thing I went through." I said, "Well, let me reissue the book." And I reissued the book. It's a novel, but it's about a man who steals his children. You know, men quite often are caught up in fight or flight. Should I fight for my children, or should I just run away? And see, here's what the government knows. The common denominator of all the negative behavior children participate in is fatherlessness. That's teen pregnancy. That's drug abuse. That's gang activity. Poor school performance. All of those things contribute to the negative behavior of our children. So guess what? If I keep fathers out of the lives of Black children, guess where they're going to end up? In white jails. And now that many of these prisons are pay-for-profit prisons, where some of these states are paying anywhere from 15 to 20 to $30,000 a year per one inmate to keep him housed. That's big money. So what we ought to be doing is trying to make sure that our children stay out of prison as opposed to going into the system. It's not a badge of honor when you go to jail. That's something that's going to follow you for the rest of your life, and it ultimately ends up damaging our families. So ultimately, when I was in Nashville, I would go down to juvenile court and counsel some of the young brothers with my rites of passage camps. I also do a black male teenage survival kit. And I would ask the question, do you know your dad? No, I don't know my dad. Have you ever met your dad? No, I've never met my dad. Whether he walked away or were pushed away by the mother, that father needs to be in the lives of their children. And that's why I decided to rewrite the book, because it's a sad story. You're going to laugh about it. There's going to be some laughing moments, but there's going to be some sad stories, because the antagonist, you're going to realize that this man wasn't really as bad as he's portrayed. And you won't realize that until the end of the book, and you're going to feel sorry for him. You're going to realize that the guy who stole his children initially in the book, Malik, you're going to realize that, wait a minute, this guy had a great point. And by the way, the story of the guy being kidnapped in the book is partially a story about me, because that happened to me, in desperation. So that's why I wrote the book. It's so important that we get fathers back into the lives of their children. I cannot stress it enough. And those statistics that I just quoted, those aren't my statistics. Those are CDC statistics, Health and Human Services. They are all over. They know that if I keep fathers out of the lives of their children, that child is, in all likelihood, is going to grow up and not be successful and may end up in my prison where I can make money off of it.
It is for me knowing it's that small, simple word called system.
Yes.
And that systematic way is keeping us blinded from the way that we should operate, which ain't even operate, flow. You got to flow with this. You got to have an experience with this. What does that look like? I got to get out of this right here.
Yep.
What conversations need to be had? We need to have at the dinner table, because I told you this is so for Sunday. What conversations do we need to have in the now, even if it's at the McDonald's? I don't care where you're going, to the Sonic, to the Denny's, to the Wendy's, whoever you're going with, we need to change up those conversations.
Well, I think number one, if you're talking about a conversation with your spouse or girlfriend or whomever you're living with, if you all share children, you need to make sure that you all are committed to that child's well-being. Okay. Look, if I break up with you, I don't break up with my children. You shouldn't be using children as a tool to get at me.
No, not that. You is not letting that one run at all. Because more women, see, I rock with the men. Let me tell you why. Because I'm a found believer that I wouldn't have had to go through so much mentally and emotionally with my children, but thank you, I did, because all I'm saying, Mama, you was there.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't about no money, Mama. It wasn't about what you could give or what you couldn't give or none of that. But I'm a found believer on I want to be in my child's life. I don't want to be with you. What is the issue?
Mm. And that's all that matters.
Yes, that's all that matters. And so to all the men and women out here, listen to this. He said, I just wanted to be in their lives. That's it. I just want to be a part. I want to be there. I want to experience them and me. This all I got.
Yeah.
This all I got for you. Ain't no word for that, but y'all got to get excited for other things. I get excited for that right there, because we don't have that many brown-skinned brothers out here really want to take a stand in their child's life. Meaning, do you really want to fight, or are you jumping a plane, popping bottles, twerking in a Birkin, and out here banging, bang, doing the same 1985 stupid stuff? Repeat.
Well, see, here's what I discovered. And by the way, when I had my organization, I Love My Children Too, most of the people that joined were women, by the way, second wives and girlfriends. And I found that a lot of men, they would rather flight than fight, unfortunately, for whatever reasons. I find a lot of men crying in their beer or whining to their best friend. I'm on a lot of groups for fathers, and I see that. And when I post in those groups, I tell them, quit crying in your beer and do something. I always use this example. When I would go to my son's second grade class, I would always show up with pizzas. Okay, I would bring 10 pizzas every other Friday to his class. And when I first came in, the principal and the secretary wouldn't let me in. But if you understand the law cannot bar you from seeing your child, as long as you're not an abuser or had been convicted as a domestic abuse. The key is this: whether or not she wants you, that doesn't matter. Whether or not he wants you, that doesn't matter. Y'all have a child together, and it is your job to make sure that those children grow up loving their mother and loving their father. One thing, and I will tell you this, young brothers and sisters, don't badmouth your parent, the other child's parent in front of them. Don't even have conversation about your mama should have did this or your mama should have did that. That creates a negative aspect in that child. Okay. What we did when we were kids together when I was with my kids, it was all about positivity. Hey, let's do this. What are you reading? How was school today? What did you learn today? We never talked about mama. Okay. Never did. Now I will say she thought we did, but we never did. We never talked about child support. My whole goal was during the times that I was with my children, I wanted to make sure that atmosphere was as wholesome as possible, because being away from them was traumatic enough. I didn't want to create more trauma and have them have to choose between mama and daddy. That was never a conversation. And if I could tell you one thing, if you're out there going through this, don't do that. Please don't do that, because it's going to negatively affect your children in the future. And I can sit here as the father of a 38-year-old and a 33-year-old now. They are thriving. They are doing fantastic work in communities. And I tend to believe it was because daddy decided long ago that, look, I'm not going to fight you over my children. I'm going to fight the system to make sure that I could be in their children's lives. That's how I looked at things.
Are we going to fight? Are we going to flight, fellas? One important factor is the automatic psychological redirect when you do this. I'm going to go fight. Your child now will see that my daddy fought for me.
Yep.
I'm trying to hold it. Just woo.
That's all right.
As an adult who does not have her father, who has not seen her father since she was 6. That's why it's very important to understand, fight for them. Because when you fight, they fight.
Yep.
They'll fight for themselves. That's the main important factor, because this is always say yes to you. So yes, June is always very important because it is dedicated out here to my father. Because his voice matters, my voice matters, your voice matters. And the one thing that I do know is that the parts of being with him, he always let me be free to say what I wanted to say, respectfully.
Yeah.
Respectfully. So you have some things that Mr. Gemini King said. He said, keeping mothers on government assistance, causing the fathers to make less. So mothers will look to the system who's trapping who into it. Like I had always said, and I've been saying it, the government is the biggest pimp. I don't care how they feel. This is my show. Period.
It is.
It's my voice. My voice matters. Because Michael Jackson, my Virgo brother, said, it don't matter if you're black or white. My voice matters. His voice matters. So shout out to all the brothers out there, all the men out there that's most definitely taking a stand and fighting for your child. Stand up and fight for your rights. Your child is your right too.
Exactly.
Even the voice, but your child is your right too. Because we didn't have the conversations that we're having now. We didn't have that inner and over and understanding that, what, this is a system? Wait a minute, I got a right too? Yes, you got a right. You got a right as an individual. The First Amendment makes it your right. The second one makes it your right. The third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth one makes it your right. The moment that you lay down and decided to say, hey, and she said, hey, and y'all yummy yum, and turn around here, and now y'all got a little yummy yum, that made it your right. Stand up for your children because it teaches them how to fight for truth, justice, and what was the other one? Family rights and community. I got it all together. I was having a moment, y'all.
Well, that's okay, because I can relate to you. Whereas that you at least knew your father, I never knew my father. I didn't. My mother went to her grave never telling me who my father was. And thankfully, my daughter, who is a clinical psychologist, and we were just talking 2 nights ago about, and I was applauding her for doing yeoman's work and trying to help me find my father. And we've gotten it now. Although he never knew me, based on what we know, what we've done, found out through research, he never knew I existed. But DNA doesn't lie. And DNA tells me who my father was. So here I am, 65 years old. I'm thinking that I was going to go to my grave not knowing who my dad was. And my daughter, with the help of Ancestry.com, and that's not a plug, but that's what we used. We were able to trace back who he was through DNA. So it's important for your child to know who their father is. You're part of them. Their health reasons. And I also want to address what the brother said about the system. A lot of people don't realize that welfare was really designed for white people. Y'all don't know that, but it was. Okay. Then when black people decided, when black people started utilizing it, that's when they put in all of these negative stipulations. Like the black father can't be in the home with the black children. But wait a minute. If we're talking about family, we're talking about having a positive role model, why can't the black father be in the home with the black mother? Because we know that a lot of times you date and marry people that you grow up with in your neighborhood, in your own socioeconomic background. So why is it that you will give a woman a job, you'll give her AFDC, you'll give her food stamps, you'll give her bus tokens to get back and forth to school? There were some programs that were even helping women buy cars. Why won't you do that for the father? It makes no sense to me. One of my pet peeves today, and I take a lot of heat, but one of my pet peeves today is that you create programs for black women and you don't create the same programs for black men. I'm talking about our community. Okay. So I told you all I did rites of passage camps in Memphis. And this was a camp designed for young black males. Okay. Ages 12 to 18 to talk about real life situations. We did that for 2 years. We ultimately ended up having 120 boys, okay, come out to this camp for a weekend. A mother came to me whose son had went through the camp and said, I don't know what you did to my son over the weekend, but you know what? I got a daughter and she needs it too. So I got to thinking, and I told her up front, I said, ma'am, I just really don't want to deal with girls because that creates other problems that I just don't want to enter into. And so I went and talked to a friend of mine who was a minister, and I told him about this woman. He said, well, what if I could get some women? Because we were going out to overnight camps. You know, we had men chaperones. We didn't have women chaperones. So he said, what if I can get you some women chaperones to go with the girls? And I said, okay, that would work. The very next year, I put together rites of passage and queenship. Okay, so that was rock. That's what we called it. In other words, rites of passage for boys and girls, because we cannot continue to love our sons and raise our daughters. Y'all understand what I mean by that, right? You see, because we find that Black mothers love their sons, but they raise their daughters. And what I mean is that they give those daughters anything and everything that they can to be successful. That's in part why you see more young Black women in college than Black males. Okay. We just let some of these young Black males grow up like wild weeds. We let the streets raise them. We let them learn on their own. These programs that we are putting together on a weekend and a summer basis, and I chastised the program just the other day when they said, well, we're having this tutoring program for young Black women. And I sent them an email. I said, so you're not having one for Black males? I said, Black males need them just as much as Black females. I didn't get a response. But we need to get out of this mentality of separating Black males and Black females, because we're in this thing together. We all came over here together. We came over here on the same damn slave ship. We lived in each other's feces and urine and sputum. We got off those ships and we tilled cotton together. We fought massa together. And now all of a sudden we're going to say, now that we start worshiping the gods of the beaten enemy, that we're going to continue to allow them to separate our Blackness? That's ludicrous. That's stupidity. We need to make sure that we are empowering Black males and Black females. And if you're out there and you're listening to my voice right now, and you got a program that only caters to one sex, then you're the damn problem. Excuse my French.
That part, what you said, you ain't got to be excused. Your voice matters. You know, this is called speak to my heart. So I can't change up how you need to what? Express yourself. Hey. That's why it's Soul Sunday. Because every song that come in my head, and I just found out that was the Staples. It don't matter. Yeah, the Staples singer. So he said, we was already here. Right. We was already here doing the barter system. Hello. We was already here showing how to guide, showing how to each one, teach one, reach one before you came over here way from on the other side over there in Germany and Poland and your cargo ships, as he put it. But see, I just broke it down like this. Blinded eye, why do you lie? With your lies, trying to rent space in my head for free, programming coming up short with your monopoly, but I own it, program it, and control it. You sleep with vindictive thoughts, trying to come up and know something, but you keep coming up short because why? I'm the one dodging and ducking this life that you gave me. Now I got the feds after me. Now I'm sitting over here living in poverty, struggling from the life that you created in this mess that you say is great for me. Why? Because this is what you want us to see, but only the blinded eye can live in that fuckery, because I'm a genuine eye, the truth, humble, unique greatness. The Lord God Almighty made me. Baby, bars and poem by Kiana. I had to do it. You was all in my poem. And I had to give it how I can remember it. Oh, I'm getting there, Dante. I'm gonna have that poem. Bars for bars freestyling. Y'all better quit playing. Vision. How important is it for us to sit with our elders? Ooh. Those who are here who know, and you know they know, bruh. I gotta say it like that, not you. I gotta say it to the bro and the sister out there. You know GG and you know OG over there spitting some real knowledge and some game into you. But you see, game and knowledge is the same thing, but y'all don't know that because y'all still stuck on this other nonsense that they gave y'all called this technology. All it's doing is taking away from you and me. So I can't see nothing because I'm blind about what the society of this world wants me to see, which isn't myself. How important is it for us to respect and sit down with our elders?
Well, I told you I grew up without a father, but and I know she's listening now, Carolyn Talley. Her father and many other fathers were very instrumental in me being where I am today. Um, in fact, her mother was my African American studies teacher in high school. And she sent a quote back to me the other day saying her mom would be very proud of me today because without growing up, without having a father, I had to listen to other men who stood in his stead. And people like John Talley, people like Samuel Hudson Sr., Clifton Earl Towns, those names mean nothing to you. But those men taught me how I should be, how the type of man that I want to be. So it is important for you because, see, your griots, as we call them in Africa, are the ones who pass down knowledge. Okay. They taught white people how to live. In fact, it was the griots who taught the Greeks who went into Africa about knowledge. They tell you that the Pythagorean theorem is from Pythagoras. Pythagoras stole that theorem from the universities in Africa. So learning our past, it makes our future important. There's a reason why the Trump administration is trying to get rid of all this Black history. They don't want you to know about Tulsa, as you mentioned earlier. They don't want you to know about Elaine, Arkansas, which was the worst of all of the massacres. Not many people know about that. They don't want you to know about Ocoee. They don't want you to know about Wilmington and all of these other. People don't even know that there were massacres in Chicago, in New York, and even in the Pacific Northwest. Because, see, if I destroy your history, then I can color you the way I want you to be. That's why they don't want you to read. I read an article just the other day. There's a brother out there that has a Facebook page where he's walking up to young people and asking them to read a sentence. And it's funny, but it's sad because these young people can't even read a basic sentence. Okay. The story went on to talk about how colleges now are having to redefine their curriculum because many of these young people are coming to college and can't read with comprehension. Okay. Part of the knowledge that I know is because I read books. I'm not sitting if I could just show you my library of books that I've read fiction, nonfiction. When I wanted to find out about religion, I didn't just accept it and say, oh, I went and researched it so I could make sure I wanted to make the right choice. So it is important for us to understand if you want to break that cycle, then you've got to empower this up here. Remember earlier, I talked about a mindectomy. What you've been taught is not reality. You've got to go and do the research for yourselves. And if you've never read a book, if you've never picked up, if you can't put together a sentence, you don't have to do like I do and be a writer, but you ought to be able to go out and read Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, who talked about Mansa Musa. Okay, if you saw the movie Sinners, that movie was based in Mound Bayou, Mississippi. Did you know that Mound Bayou, Mississippi was the first African American incorporated city in the United States?
Dante, and last Sunday, the brother Free Will lives where? Mound Bayou, Mississippi.
Exactly.
Yeah. Alignment. So you see, still we're always here, like you said. We're always gonna still pay attention to alignment. Alignment has been said so many times while we've sat right here that if you're gonna miss it because you're looking for some big magic trick, you're looking for the microwave to say ding and the light switch is going off in your head right now. Hold on, it's doing this. It's doing that. You see what I'm saying? The light switch steady going off within you. Within you. And it's simple stuff. Within means that you got to go be one with yourself. You're going to have to go Obi-Wan Kenobi and sit in isolation, but not this type of isolation, just away from people, places, and things. What legacy do you hope your work and everything that you do, because you pour out from everywhere you look, listen, feel, hear, breathe. You like the whole soul epitome of what soulful really means to us as my blackity black, 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 black. Even the woman Ellen, ain't her name Ellen Jane or Jane Ellen? Um, she's a white lady, and she'll sit anybody down that
Jane
wants
Elliott.
to.
Jane
Huh?
Elliott. Jane
See,
Elliott. I've actually
I
interviewed her on my show. Powerful white woman.
yes,
Yeah.
that woman would shut your mouth
Yes.
real quick when you want to go at her talking about that the first being wasn't the black woman. When you want to go and talk to her and have a conversation with her about these Neanderthals and all this Caucasian mountains, when you want to go and try to do this white supremacy stuff and all this other nonsense, she will break it down educatedly and then give you a piece of her advice. See, I told you I did my homework. So, how was that interview with you?
Well, you know, I've been in the radio business for 40 years. I've actually been doing Black Focus Radio now for almost 10 years. And the whole purpose of Black Focus Radio is to empower our people. And I make no bones about it. As you just said, I'm blackity, 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 black. I make no bones about it, and I'm not ashamed about it. And if you're white out there and that bothers you, then that's a you problem. That's not my problem. Okay. So it was important for me to get people on the show to talk about and really to educate our people. I'm about educating our people. If white people want to listen to the show and get educated, that's fine. And my whole focus is our people, because we are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Okay. And the knowledge is out there. You mentioned every aspect of DNA can be traced back to Africa and a black woman. Okay. A black woman. I look at people all the time, and white people have this arrogance because they're white. They are a derivative of us. Hello? That means that they came from us. And quite often I tell them, I don't call them colonizers, I call them my children, because that's where they came from, us. You understand that, right? So it's important for us when we teach those things, because what it does, it empowers your young people to be who they are. Because once you know where you are or who you are, you can then know where you're going. I purposely named my kids African names because I wanted them to be proud of where they came from. All right. It's about empowerment, because their biggest fear is us to become knowledgeable, to understand who we are and where we came from. The Trump administration just passed a law this past week, the TPS law, where they want to send all these Haitians back to Haiti. And I guarantee you that most of the people listening to my voice had at one point made fun of Haiti. You all know that Haiti was the first Western nation to eliminate slavery. Do y'all know that? Do you know that the French have been paid reparations from Haiti for decades? You see what I'm saying? And by the way, that happened in 1787. There's a reason why Haiti is so poor. You see, there's a reason why Haiti is so poor, because white nations have put their foot on the necks of Haiti for centuries. Y'all don't know that, though. Y'all make fun of Haitians. Some of you all bought into that lie that the Trump administration did this past election, talking about they're eating dogs. Come on, folks. You see, our people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. You can say what you want to say about me. You're not going to destroy my mentality, because I go to the books. I re-educated myself. You see, there you go. You got to not buy into this mess. Just like the white man's ice is colder. That's why you don't shop at Black Business, because you believe that mess. You know, you've got to empower yourself. See, that you asked my legacy. That's my legacy. You see, every young person that I meet on the street, that I talk to, I'm dropping knowledge. I'm dropping knowledge. And you know what? He may not get all of it, but he's going to get some of it. And then that young person is going to grow up and he's going to tell a friend, hey, man, I met this guy, old guy with his beard. He really dropped some knowledge on me. Okay. He's going to tell another guy. He's going to tell another guy. He's going to tell his girlfriend. He's going to tell his children. It might even empower him to go and research for himself. Because one of the things I tell people, don't believe me, go do the research yourself. I say that all the time. When on my show, I say, if you think I'm making a mistake, call my show and let me know. Because I want to be factually correct. Not right. There's a difference. I want to be factually correct. So that's my legacy. Because once they've told all those people, guess what? It becomes multiplicative. What that means is that it continues to grow and it continues to grow. And that man, that griot that we spoke about earlier in the show, that knowledge is passed down from person to person for the person. And guess what? My legacy lives forever. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna live forever. That's the group 112 with Lecrae and some other artists. It's a rap gospel song. So yes, it's Soulful Sunday, y'all. And it's a song they have. 112, Lecrae, I think it's YK Osiris in there and some other artists, might be Andy Menino too. Yeah, I like music. So that song right there, I'm gonna live forever. You see, I even have the tune in my head because it's certain songs, it's a certain message, it's a certain something that you receive from somebody else or yourself that's gonna do this thing that I like how Gemini said, if you don't have respect for yourself, you have nothing. And see where we come from, that's real. What message of respect would you like for our young people and us? Because there's people that in the now until they tell you what, baby, oh God. Poor little Oregon, just gonna leave it at that. Okay. Respect isn't for the other person. And shout out to all the mothers out there that did have to raise, guide, lead, teach in every way your children, whether they were male or females, because I got 2 boys and a daughter, and y'all can already tell which one of my children, probably as they say, the thug is the most, the daughter, right? But my boys are first. So how he said and broke that down of like your love, the sons, and God, it was kind of like it was balanced. Because you ain't about to do what I know I think you're going to go do. Are we going to the street? Okay, let me go put my tennis shoes on. Man, where you going? You say you finna go up there to the block. What you finna do? I'm going too. Oh, let's go. Remember, I don't know you when something go down, okay? So you can't call me. We ain't doing that. We got to give our children options when they get to a certain age. Options like jobs, options like their gifts and their talents to create that wealth, options that will expand their mindset instead of always trying to expand the pocket. See, when you expand the mind, that helps them work in their gift, work in their talent, which does this thing that will make room for them. Right? Doors are open. Yeah. Opportunities will come their way. Not the ones that we have to really pass over, but we don't pass over. We take ourselves there. Right? We have to really feed ourselves. He said self-respect and loving your true divine whole self to the fullest. Let's go dig, y'all. Let's go get that shovel. Let's go dig up everything that's in the garden of you that does not belong. Chunk it up. Y'all so big and y'all so bad. I told y'all we're going to do big, bad, and summer all day long. We're going to do the baddest thing. We're going to do I'm about that life. Y'all saying all of that. Well, I dare you, double dog dare you to go get a shovel and go dig up everything that's rotten to the core of you, inside of you, selfishness, jealousness, sitting up there, malicious activity, sitting up in there, an immature mindset because I'm an adult and I didn't want to put childish behavior away. Didn't mean you had to put you away, but the childish behavior with that, oh, I want to people please everybody. I want to say yes to this, and knowing that that's unhealthy for me. Now my health is at a risk. My mind ain't even where it's supposed to be because I ain't even being in my right spirit because I don't want to be fruitful and multiply kindness, gentleness, meekness, self-control is the last one, y'all. So before you even get to that, you got to know if you ain't gonna do self-control, all that other don't mean shit. And I got that from my granddaddy, so can't none of y'all take that from me.
There you go.
If you don't have self-control, which is self-respect, all the other ones don't mean nothing. You just rotten to the core because you don't want to work on you. You don't want to sit up there and say, hey, D, I need a little help. Hey, D, I'm feeling this way. I feel like I want to just bow and take me out. I feel like I want to take somebody else out. When you be honest with you allow this man to get into your business, to get into you. Because now what's going to happen is that thing that says that all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord. And then it also said that ye are God. Wait a minute. So I got to love myself. You got to love you, the good, the bad, the ugly, the messy, what they said, she said, whom said, and every unaddressed issue you got. You got to love you to the core soul of you and allow source to give it back. Dante.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
What are your words of advice and how can the audience contact and reach out?
Well, just quickly, last part first. You can contact me on a number of places, but go out to YouTube and look for Black Focus Radio. It's pretty obvious. It's a golden microphone with red, black, and green lettering. You can also send me an email at thepainofvengeance@gmail.com, blackfocusradio@gmail.com. I've been in this business for over 40 years. If you're looking for me, and let me just say, I use the name Dante Sinkay as a pen name. My real name is David W. Coleman. I'm all over Facebook. I'm constantly posting. So I'm not hiding behind my pen name. I just use that name as a writer. But I am very proud of my name. I just learned the other day that I found an ancestor that goes all the way back to 1820, Annie Coleman. So I'm very proud of my name. So that's how you can contact me. Look, and I'll even do this. I'll even go one further. Call me, 615-554-0568. Leave a message because my phone is always busy. Leave a message and I'll get back to you, or just text me. That's probably the best way to do it as well. Okay, so that's how you can get in touch with me. Now, what was the second part? I started the second part of your question. Say again.
What are your words of advice?
Here's my words of advice. Go educate yourself. I'm not talking about with a PhD. I'm not talking about going to school and college and getting in debt. I'm talking about educate yourself on life. Go get you a library card and go to the library and start reading and researching. Stop listening to rappers who all they talk about is murder, mayhem, and misogyny. You know, garbage in is garbage out. We've got to deprogram ourselves because many of them have been programmed with this thing called money. You see, let me just say this real fast. I call it worshiping the gods of a beaten enemy. And I use the analogy of the children of Israel in the Bible. They suffered under Pharaoh for decades. And when they were liberated and out in the wilderness, they decided that while Moses was gone, they went back to worshiping the god, the golden calf. When Moses realized this, they were all destroyed. Okay, so now we were in the wilderness for 400 years in this country, suffered under slavery. We went through the Civil War. We went through the Black Codes. We went through Jim Crow. We went through the civil rights legislation. We became free. And then all of a sudden, now that we're free, what did we do? We started worshiping their God. Their God is money. You see? So if I don't have anything else to tell you, if you don't get anything else from this conversation, we got to go back to the roots. We got to understand that we are a village. Unlike the brother who was talking the other day, that he don't blame Jay-Z for doing what he did with Target because it's about him. Well, just think about this for a moment. What if Frederick Douglass would have said it's about him? What if Harriet Tubman would have said it's about her? What if those children in the Children's Crusade in the 1960s who had those water holes turned on them and those dogs sicked on them? What if they would have said it was about them? What if Malcolm X would have said it's just about us? And what if Martin Luther King would have said it's just about me? You wouldn't have the gold, the money, the influence that you have today, because those people understand it wasn't just about them. It was about the village. And if they can destroy the village, then they can destroy us. And that's what they've been successful in doing. So my message to you who are listening today is that you have to get back to the village. Each one of us must teach one of us. Each one of us must be responsible for one of us. That's how you got to where you are today.
Yes, I had to hold that all because it's about us. It's about you. It's about me. It's about all of us.
Yes.
And it's not money. It's idols. They're gods. And I can't see the other part because the thing is missing it. Made in their images. So when the thing that I love the most is that you stress that their God is money. They gave it away. The love of money is the root to all evil. Go see in your root. Is divine of everlasting going down there to the water of living streams of livingness of harmony. Is you being a tree planted by living streams of water. See, your roots gotta go somewhere deeper where ain't nobody ever willing to go. I dare you to take yourself to Mississippi in the backwoods. I bet you I ain't scared. I know you is. I'm just saying it. Like, I'm gonna go drive the car in the backwoods. You ain't ready to go in the backwoods. What's behind them trees? What's behind Highway 7? What's behind that when you get on the road where it's just gravel and dirt? If you ain't ready to go get that shovel this weekend, next weekend, baby, you're gonna still be in the same stuck, isolated village that you in right now. Each one is about us growing. It's about us building a community collective to heal, to grow, so that we can all glow together, so that we can continue to build legacies of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. With that being said, you guys, I want to tell you have a soulful Sunday on purpose. You know why? We are family. I'm my sister, brothers, and me. Hey, go out there to Amazon, get that book, The Pain of Vengeance by my brother Dante Denis. His real name is David, y'all, but I didn't want to tell y'all that. I wanted him to say it himself because I was already. King David is here. King David is here. The king is here. Y'all go out there and be great on purpose. Say yes to yourself. Love you, even when in the places that it hurt. But most importantly, you got to remember that you're the legacy. You're the love and you're the light. Dante, honor, respect, and gratitude. Most importantly, thank you for being here.
Peace. Ashe.
Asheo! And we out.